In recent years, Microsoft has traveled to San Francisco in hopes of trying to get developers to build apps for Windows. It hasn't really worked out every year, but this year they've got a new trick up their sleeves. It's Windows 10.
This conference is all about celebrating the creativity, the ingenuity that you all bring.
So the biggest announcement of the week has definitely been Microsoft bringing Android and iOS apps to Windows. So it's not quite as simple as it sounds. They're basically trying to get developers to port their apps to Windows and run them there.
You will be able to compile the same Objective-C code that's being used in iOS applications within Visual Studio on Windows.
It's kind of a disruptive thing. You've obviously got the two powers in the mobile world, which is Android and iOS. And Microsoft really wants to grab those developers and get them onto Windows. Whether it's going to work, we'll see. It could end up with a mishmash of apps on Windows Phone and no real identity and no real design ethos or anything like that. But Microsoft's really hoping that this is their last chance to really get these apps on Windows and to get people buying Windows phones. Aside from the mobile stuff, Windows 10 obviously spans across PCs, tablets, phones, and the Xbox One. And this week we kind of got the first official name for the Project Spartan browser, which is a successor to Internet Explorer. So now it's called Microsoft Edge. And Microsoft's keeping the kind of circular E logo that they had with IE for the familiarity of your grandma using Internet Explorer or something like that. Kind of a weird logo. I don't know if they're going to keep it around. They've picked it, so it's probably here to stay. In terms of Microsoft Edge, it's new, it's clean, it's simple. You're going to have extensions coming by the end of the year. So Microsoft's really cleaned its act up with the browser, and it's bringing something that's new and fresh and a little bit more simple than Internet Explorer has been in the past. Because Windows 10 runs across PCs, phones, tablets, whatever you want, there's some interesting new things that Microsoft's kind of doing with it. So one of them is Continuum for phones, which is essentially an interface that will allow you to plug your phone into a monitor and keyboard and mouse, and it'll be an interface that stretches from the phone to the PC. So instead of getting your phone interface on a monitor, you get a PC interface. You can launch Excel, Word, and all that sort of stuff and use it as a PC. So it's kind of cool. What wasn't cool this week is that Microsoft didn't really give us a release date for all this stuff. So the phone stuff is coming later this year, the PC stuff is coming in the summer, and summer's pretty broad. We've heard AMD CEO say end of July. We've personally heard July 29th as a date. We'll see if Microsoft makes that. But I think Windows 10 is going to come in pretty hot. It's going to have a lot of updates to it, and not all the features are going to be there straight away. And then the final piece of the Windows 10 puzzle is HoloLens. So Microsoft showed it back in January, and it's progressed somewhat in the 100 days since then. So it's now a headset. I've tried it on. I'd say I've spent about 50% of the demo trying to adjust it for my eyes and get the field of view right. And I think that's kind of the one thing that I noticed from the demos this time around. Back in January, I could look around and everything felt a little bit more immersive. But this time, it felt like I had to have the hologram in a certain position and I had to move to that, and it didn't feel like it was part of the world necessarily. So I think that's going to be the struggle with HoloLens. Some of the demos were cool. I could inflate fishes, I could put stuff on the walls, all that sort of stuff. It's cool, but I think there's still some work to go. And we don't know what's inside it. We don't know how much it's going to cost or when it's really going to arrive. So there's still some questions around HoloLens. It's cool, it's exciting, but there's still some work to be done there. Microsoft really knows what it needs to do, and it's kind of tried to put that on show this week. Whether it really entices mobile developers this time, who knows? This is kind of their last chance, really. If they go another year or two without the apps across their platforms, then Windows becomes even more relevant than it is now. They've done a lot of exciting stuff this week. They've shown a lot of exciting stuff. They're looking towards the future. I think Microsoft knows what it needs to do. It's just really whether developers are interested or not.